There was a time when cars were more than just machines. They were family members, road trip companions, and symbols of freedom. But as comforting as those memories are, not every part of those old cars was safe. In fact, some of the safety features of the past did more harm than good. Today, we're looking back at 10 old car safety features that actually made driving more dangerous. Number 1. The shatter-prone windshields. Back in the 1930s and 40s, windshields were a badge of luxury, but many were made of ordinary plate glass, the same kind you'd find in a window pane. When accidents happened, that glass could shatter into razor-sharp shards, turning a fender bender into a nightmare. It wasn't until safety glass became common in the 1950s that drivers had real protection. Before then, one crack in the wrong place could spell disaster. Number 2. Non-collapsible steering columns. That big chrome steering wheel wasn't just stylish, it was a spear pointed right at the driver's chest. For those steering columns were solid rods of steel. In a head-on crash, there was no give, and the driver often paid the ultimate price. It took until the late 1960s for collapsible steering columns to become mandatory. By then, too many accidents had already shown how deadly the old design really was. Number 3. Seat belts that weren't safe. It may sound strange, but the first seat belts weren't all that safe. Early lap belts, introduced in the 1950s, sometimes caused more injuries than they prevented. They could snap ribs, damage internal organs, or even trap passengers in a burning car. Without the modern 3-point harness we know today, those belts were a risky compromise. Still, they were the first step toward the life-saving seatbelts we depend on now. Number 4. Dashboard padding, made of metal. Car makers once tried to make cars safer by padding the dashboard. The problem? That padding was often thin vinyl stretched over solid steel. In a crash, your head or chest still slammed against cold, unforgiving metal. It gave the illusion of safety without solving the danger. Real energy-absorbing dashboards wouldn't arrive until the 1970s. Number 5. Pop-out windshields. Some car companies thought it was clever to design windshields that popped out during a crash. The idea was to prevent glass cuts by letting the driver escape through the opening. In reality, people were often thrown straight out of the car onto the road. It was a well-meaning invention that backfired, quite literally. Seatbelts and laminated glass would later prove to be far better solutions. Number 6. Safety door latches. Believe it or not, early cars often had door latches that flew open on impact. They were meant to be sufficient but to keep passengers from being trapped inside. But in practice, it just meant more people were ejected during accidents. Families on road trips sometimes tied the doors shut with rope to feel secure. Stronger, crash-tested latches eventually replaced these dangerous designs. Number 7. Bench seats without restraints. There was nothing more American than cruising down the highway on a wide, cushy bench seat. But without headrests or shoulder belts, passengers were dangerously exposed. In a sudden stop, everyone slid forward like marbles on a table. The freedom of those seats came with a hidden cost in safety. Bucket seats and modern restraints would slowly push them aside. Number 8. Giant chrome bumpers. In the 1950s and 60s, cars wore chrome bumpers like shining armor. They looked tough, but they were little more than solid steel beams. Instead of absorbing crash energy, they transferred it straight to the passengers. These bumpers often caused more injuries and collisions than they prevented. Eventually, crumple zones and energy-absorbing bumpers replaced the chrome giants. Number 9. Airplanes on the road. Tail fins and pointy designs. Car designers once believed sharp tail fins and pointed ornaments made cars futuristic. But when accidents happened, those very designs acted like knives. Pedestrians, and even drivers, were at risk of being cut or skewered by their own cars. It was beauty over safety, a style that couldn't last. By the 1970s, regulations put an end to those dangerous flourishes. Number 10. The safety buzzword. Perhaps the most dangerous feature of all was the word safety itself. Car companies loved to advertise safety features that weren't really safe. From padded dashboards to pop-out glass, it was more about marketing than protection. It gave drivers a false sense of security, which sometimes led to tragedy. Only after decades of hard lessons did real safety engineering take over. Looking back, it's amazing how much cars have changed. What once passed for safety now seems shocking, even reckless. But those old features remind us how far we've come and how much we learned the hard way. Which of these do you remember seeing in the cars of your childhood? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from the past.